Every 3 years, Carl Polachuk and Small Biz Thoughts bring you a spectacular 2-day online conference, and they do it right. Mark your calendars and plan to join on May 17th and 18th at the SMB Online Conference 2023. 2 full days of content, more than a dozen speakers, a special Killing It Live podcast recording, and much more. Save $100 by registering today at smbonlineconference.com. I'll see you there. It's Monday, April 17th, 2023, and I'm Dave Sobel. 3 things to know today. States grapple with social media regulation as a patchwork of laws reveals the growing pains in U.S. privacy approach compared to the Europeans. Exploding SaaS adoption in smaller firms, a 377% growth rate signals an opportunity. And tragic incident exposes a lack of empathy in the MSP community. This is the business of tech. Late last week brought some state-level laws. Arkansas signed into law the Social Media Safety Act, and it's taking effect in September, aimed at giving parents more control over their kids' social media usage. The bill imposes a minimum age for social media usage. Yet, it also appears to contain vast loopholes and exemptions benefiting companies that lobbied on the bill and raising questions about how much of the industry it truly covers. Utah passed a similar law last month. Montana is moving forward with trying to pass a bill banning TikTok that was introduced in February, and the state Senate approved it last month, and the state House passed it last week. The states aren't unaware of the difficulty of the issue. Montana's Attorney General, whose office drafted the bill, acknowledged that enacting a state TikTok ban would be difficult. Quote, "We're under no illusions that this is not going to be challenged," he said in an interview. "I think this is the next frontier in First Amendment jurisprudence that's probably going to have to come from the U.S. Supreme Court, and I think that's probably where this is headed." Meanwhile, in laws that will be enforceable, Europe's national privacy group, the European Data Protection Board, has set up a task force over ChatGPT. Why do we care? The U.S.'s lack of federal privacy regulations is starting to show its problematic side. Why we care is that a patchwork of poorly written state laws is far worse than even a badly written single federal one. For providers, that creates a patchwork of difficult-to-track data management laws that will be more challenging. Versus the Europeans, who have leaned into being organized. A tale of 2 legal precedents to track. Some new SaaS software stats from company Vendor, who analyzed their customers' SaaS spending. The average growth rate for annualized spend on SaaS by company size is 58%, but where it gets significant is the smaller the company. For those organizations, say between 500 and 1,000, there's been 29% growth between 2020 and 2022. But that period has shown 377% growth for those organizations with less than 100 employees. And in 2020, only 16% of software purchases in the top 10 SaaS categories helped generate revenue. However, in 2022, out of 2,087 SaaS deals, 644, or 30.85%, were linked to revenue generation. Why do we care? It's more validation that SaaS adoption is linked to organization size. The smaller the org, the more the SaaS. Analyze your customer base and use this metric to understand where to spend your time and attention building service offerings. Based on this understanding of how customers consume technology, judge your offerings and your needs. CRN is reporting that San Francisco authorities have arrested a solution provider owner as the suspected killer of Cash App co-founder Bob Lee. Lee was stabbed to death on Tuesday, April 4th. Why do we care? Well, we shouldn't care about this story as it's reported because the fact that the suspect was a solution provider isn't relevant. Frankly, it wouldn't have made this show because it isn't about technology, nor its delivery, until I listened to the MSP community and found rather horrifying commentary in the r/MSP Reddit. Most of the conversation was wildly inappropriate and included very well-known participants in the community. I reached out to the Reddit mods for comments. Posts that violated the community's rules were removed, and the mods team noted that many comments did not reflect their views personally. The refrain I hear from the broad MSP community is that it prides itself on being supportive, collaborative, and helpful. And this thread was a shocking lack of class. A man was murdered. This was a chance to unite, condemn a horrible incident, and help all the families involved. But instead, it turned into an internet troll fest. But the internet being gross isn't the story either. I noted some prominent names in the thread. The takeaway is that people noticed that. I only covered it because people I thought highly of their opinion, and their light diminished a bit. And I wanted that insight for listeners to be that people do notice that. Does coordinating meetings and help desk calls frustrate you and frustrate your clients? Wouldn't it be easier if you could automate this process and it integrated with ConnectWise Manage or with Autotask? TimeZest is scheduling automation that gives you control of your schedule and removes the frustration of calendar ping pong. As the only solution specifically designed for MSPs, it integrates with your PSA to schedule appointments right in your workflow. And the best part? You can try it for free. Visit timezest.com/MSP Radio and mention MSP Radio for 10% off your first year of TimeZest. Thanks for listening. Today's a funny one. It's National Cheese Ball Day. I've been called a cheese ball before. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. The Business of Tech is written and produced by me, Dave Sobel, under ethics guidelines posted at businessof.tech. Like the content? Support the show at patreon.com/MSP Radio or buy our Why Do We Care merch at businessof.tech. If you want to reach our listeners, visit mspradio.com/engage.
Part of the MSP Radio Network.